move us to question for our last long formatted question before we do some rapid fire. Also a long one, so bear with me, folks watching and listening. In a recent public meeting on violence prevention, the City of Portland evaluation specialist Ryan D'Ambrosio reported that gun violence in Portland has dropped by 22% since August of 2023. Ryan also highlighted that there is a 38% reduction in Black gun violence victims over the past year. The city is attributing this overall decline in shootings to the success of the gun violence prevention programs that receive funding from both City of Portland and statewide allocations of federal pandemic grants. There is an organization, a group of folks that I want to uplift in the moment, Healing Hurt People. It's a partnership between POIC, a Black-led nonprofit, and the city's Office of Violence Prevention. They've been doing some really, really powerful work. And for folks who may not know, they offer counseling and outreach to community members at risk of gun violence, including victims of gun violence. My question to you, you started talking about this a little bit earlier. How you prioritize the continued funding and success of community-centered programs that have proven to prevent crime?
I absolutely prioritize those because they are real programs that are affecting real change, as you outlined in the opening statement with the reduction in instances that we're seeing. And I think that's what we just have to prioritize that and keep that going. I know Joe, and I know that program very, very well as the executive director of Latino Network. I worked alongside Joe in similar programs, but for Latina community for several years. So I know his programs pretty well, and they are very effective, and we need to keep investing in them. And this is the lesson that I learned also when I worked for Mayor Potter. And we heard from folks who were very active in decreasing gun violence, particularly among Black youth in the 80s and the early 90s. And we had the upswing of violence again because there was disinvestment again. When things get better, then the funding goes down again. And we can't, that keeps repeating, and that's a lesson for all. I don't think that will happen again because we have more people who appreciate that experience or may have that lived experience themselves, who are going to be in office or are currently in office now. So I don't think, my hope and my expectation is we're not going back, but it's a reminder to us about what happens when, that's how disinvestment happens, when policymakers who get to walk away from that issue and go home and don't have that in their real lives, it's not present for them all the time. And so we need people to remember that, whether you have that experience or not, be conscious of that. We need that continued investment so that we can continue to see the outcomes, so that we can continue to have the presence of safety and continue to have the presence of justice in our community. So.
Thank you for that. Definitely hitting an emotional nerve to make sure that we have folks who had lived experience in this work to be closer to power, to be able to share that power, to dream up with us. So I can't stress enough that thank you for saying that.